let's move on to SunRisers Hyderabad. So they played very well last season. They qualified for the playoffs, but somehow they couldn't make it to the top two and they couldn't play finals. But this season, the squad is very interesting. They have added uh, and they have fixed those loopholes. And this time, the pitches are favoring SunRisers Hyderabad. They have to play first three games in Chennai, and with the bowling attack of Rashid, Mujib, and Nabi, I think they'll start as one of the favorites to win the title this season. What do you reckon?
Favorites to qualify for playoff, one of the favorites, yes, absolutely. To win the title, I still don't see them winning the title, and I'll tell you why. In my opinion, they still have a very soft core, and they are they have added a lot of firepower at two places where they already have superstars. So I have loaded my cannon 10 times where all I needed was three bullets. So what I'm saying with that is, so they have Roy, Bairstow, Warner, and Kane, and you can never play all four of them. It's good. They have a good backups because anybody can go out of form. So they have good backups. They need only two out of those four. So they are very, very well covered there. And if you look at the people following them is where I have the biggest concern. So if we assume, so they go in with two out of the four. For argument's sake, let's say they start with Roy and Warner, and say they go with Kane or Bairstow at number three. So they have played three out of the four overseas slots in the top three. Then they want these three to be at least one out of the three to click, which will eventually happen. One out of this three will eventually click for sure. But after that, you have the middle order of Manish, Kedar, and maybe Samad or Priyam Garg. These are the four people, out of which they have to play three, or Vijay Shankar. So out of this five, they have to play three. So this is where I believe, outside of Manish Pandey, I don't think others are still. Last year, I was a little excited about a couple of them, Samad and Priyam Garg, but I don't think they have stepped up a little bit. That is where their problem is. And then if you come to the bowling, if you look at their bowling, then if you're playing three overseas in the top three, then you only can pick Rashid. And Rashid will be, unless he gets injured, he's an automatic starter. Then if you go with Rashid, then the Indian contingent, they don't have a, except that Abhishek Sharma, left arm spinner, they do not have a quality Indian spinner. So they will have to either play Abhishek or they will have to go with Bhuvi, Sid, Sandeep, and Nattu, and which sort of exposes, and then Kedar will end up supplementing Rashid as a spinning option. If I if I were their coach or in their strategy department, I will say that my strength is the explosiveness of the top three. So let's start the first few games with that and see how it goes. So if they're chasing, then they will definitely going to chase down any target, and they will be set up for that. And but the problem comes when they're batting first. And in there, so Roy, Warner, and Kane or Bear. So I prefer Kane. So Kane in my 11 because he adds some solidity to the middle order, and then that is where their strengths are. And then their bowling, if you look at, their strength is actually towards the rear end of the innings. The last 10 overs is where they bowl pretty well. They still don't have a good first 10 overs bowling team. So that is where their strengths are in the probably the death overs and the top order.
Yes, yes. So now let's come to the weaknesses. So yes, they are playing games in Chennai, they are playing games in Delhi, but if they have to play to their strengths, then they have to play Nabi and Rashid together, or probably Mujib and Rashid together in order to maximize their bowling attack along with Bhuvi, Nattu, and Sandeep or Call. So that's a really good bowling attack. So, but that compromises on their top order strength where they have overseas match winners. So, do you think their biggest weakness this season is playing 11 selection? So they have plenty of options. So that's their biggest weakness.
There are plenty of options, but not in those crucial 4, 5, 6. The 4, 5, 6, yeah, seven anyway. Rashid will come in, so they are struggling in their 4, 5, 6, and to get the balance there, and a lack of quality Indian spinner, and to supplement Rashid or they have to eventually end up picking Mujib or Nabi to supplement Rashid now. If they are not picking Mujib or Nabi, then they lack an Indian spinning option.
Right. So do you think with this kind of playing 11 and this kind of selection issues, there is opportunity for someone like Abhishek Sharma to play all the games, or someone like Suchit? They have acquired Suchit this season. So among these two, they have to play one at least. Or maybe in some games when they go with three overseas batsmen, they have to play both of them to supplement Rashid Khan.
Yeah, Jagdish or Suchet is a good addition. So look. At least I would want him to start off in place of Sandeep or Sid to begin with, because Sandeep Sid both had an not so as per their domestic standards, they did not have a great Vijay Hazare or the other T20 international, sorry, the domestic cups. But that is where I believe they can try Abhishek and Suchet and give them some surety, because if that department, even if they give 4 overs, say 40 runs and pick up a wicket, that's a job done for them. And they have others who can contain. They have Rashid. It's then between Rashid and the spinner, if they can get 8 overs for 80, sorry, not 80, 8 overs for 60 to 70 between them, and pick up 3 wickets, I think that's job done.
So when we talk about opportunities, then someone like Virat Singh, who didn't get a single game last season, but he got a really amazing domestic season this time. He played really well in Syed Mushtaq Ali. So do you see that somewhere they will try to fit Virat Singh in between Manish and Kane, and that will work for Sunrisers the way they tried Priyam Garg last season. So in that position, they will try to fit in Virat Singh.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting choice, right? But again, to your point, where will they fit them? So they have Priyam. I think Warner has a preference for Priyam Garg, and he will definitely start with Priyam. But yes, if Priyam does fail, they should immediately not wait. This is a very smallish tournament, 14 games, so things fast come pretty fast. So if somebody fails in the first 2 games, give them a break, and they should groom. They should not groom. Sorry, they can bring in Virat, and Virat has, as you rightly said, he had a very good domestic season. So he's the guy, local guy in form. So absolutely, it's a chance for people like not just Virat, but even Priyam, Abdul Samad. For them, this is a very big chance to cement their places in the franchise in IPL actually,
Right.
and Abhishek.
Right, right. So, what's the biggest threat for Sunrisers this season? So, is it going to be David Warner's injury, or maybe Kane Williamson's? Uh, so, an injury to Kane Williamson, because they have to play games on slow tracks where Williamson is going to be very important for them at number 4 or 5, because other overseas players, they don't have that kind of intent to play against spin.
Correct, and that is their biggest worry is going to be. And except for Kane and Warner, I don't know how much he has recovered from his groin injury, but I believe he will be fit. He's a champion. But Kane is going to be very crucial in their middle order, and Warner is going to be very crucial. And if they have to play 2 spinners, that is overseas spinners, then they will go with. If they end up going with Nabi to strengthen their lower middle order and Rashid, then their biggest problem then comes what follows if Kane and Warner fail in the same match. And that is where, in my opinion, this season it might be a combination that somebody from the Indian code, not Indian fringes, they need to scale up. If they don't scale up, they will be in trouble.
Right. So, what's your prediction for orange cap and purple cap?
Orange cap between it will be Warner. Yeah, for them to qualify for playoffs, Warner has to be there. Or between Warner, Jason Roy, or Bairstow, I don't see them playing all the games, and that is the only reason why I'm leaning towards Warner, because between Kane, Bairstow, and Roy, at some point of time they're going to rotate them out, unless of course the new rule might suspend Warner. I don't know, so that's going to be an interesting thing. But keeping that aside, the only out of the four quartet I see playing every single game is Warner.
right? And
And purple cap, uh, between Rashid, it is going to be the usuals between Rashid or Bowie. Bowie, if he's going to open the bowling, he's going to just pity that he is not going to get a chance to bowl at Jason Roy more often. But he's going to definitely give them those breakthroughs. So it's going to be Bhuvio, Rashid, and usually the the IPL, if you the way it has panned out in the last few seasons, people are willing to play out Rashid. So maybe they are taking chances against Bhuvi, so that's what makes Bhuvi again one of the contenders for Purple Cap.
yes, and they have so many contenders for the MVP and emerging player spot. So that's going to be interesting one. So what's your pick for MVP and emerging player?
MVP, I believe it has to be Rashid. If Rashid has a big tournament, they are definitely winning it. So for them to qualify, and two key players, three key players are going to be Warner, Rashid, and Bhuvi. Between them, they have to click, and they don't have a choice as well here. And these are three player positions where they don't even have backups for these three players. So their MVP has to come from him. I'll go for Rashid.
Right. An emerging player, they have so many this season. Probably Virat if he plays, or Priyam Garg, or maybe
Yeah.
Suchit.
So all four are good. I like to see more of Suchet and more of Virat this season, only because they had good domestic seasons, and they should be given a chance to express themselves. And they have the luxury of, if they go with say the top three of the foreign overseas quarter out of the four, they should definitely give Manish and Virat a run so that they can. I'm sure Virat is going to come good.
Right. And do you see them qualifying for the playoffs?
It pains me, but I somehow feel that SRH will not make it this year. They have a very their four, five, six are still very suscept, and they don't have over dependency on the top three or top two, I would say. And then they have to play, because they are playing in slow surfaces. They will have to bring in Nabi or Holder into the play. So, but their finishing is going to be a lot. It's going to uh, I don't know. The finishing is going to be an area of concern, and they do not have opening bowlers to support Bowie. So even the Bowie comes with the 2 over spell at the beginning. I can easily take maybe 10 runs of those 2 overs, but I can go to the other side, and they do not have somebody who can keep. So they can, even if they win, if for Warner, I think it's going to be win the toss and bowl first. So if they're going to bat first, I don't see them winning a lot of games this season.
That's an interesting take on Sunrise Hyderabad.